Our top story at this hour. Now, the drama in the Kenya National Union of Teachers continues as a faction of members of the board are said to plot a takeover bid against Wilson Sossion. Let's now cross over to our reporter Timothy Otieno for more details. Timothy, what have you established so far?
Well, Zinzi Kibiku, what is happening here at the Kenya National Union of Teachers headquarters is what some of the members are describing as a hostile takeover of the office of whom they refer to as the former Secretary General and nominated Member of Parliament, Wilson Sossion. So right now, a somewhat of an impromptu meeting is taking place behind me with some of the members, of course, discussing strategy on how they are going to be conducting themselves. Their intention, of course, being that they want to take over the offices that are still being held by the former Secretary General Wilson Sossion. They say they need to evict him and move him out of office, that through their National Executive Council resolution this past week on Monday, they indeed voted him out of office, and therefore he needs not continue, of course, residing and, of course, occupying office space that is no longer due to him. So the acting chairman of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, Wycliffe Omuchei, as well as the newly appointed or the acting Secretary General Hesbon Otieno are spearheading the meeting that is taking place here at the KNUT offices. The meeting has just begun almost like 5 minutes ago, and they are expected to conclude, then talk to the press. Now, earlier on when we arrived here, there was, of course, a delegation of many of the members of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, of course, adorning their trademark green shirts with the red stripes to it. At least 30 of them, at least we could count approximately 30 of them had, of course, since camped at these particular offices. And this is just one of the many meetings that has been taking place here at the offices of the Kenya National Union of Teachers. And remember, this stalemate has picked up pace, momentum, and fury over the last few weeks since Wilson Sosion's name was struck off the Teachers Register from the Teachers Service Commission in late last year. But Wilson Sossion has insisted that he remains to be the Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, based on the fact that he says the annual Delegates Conference of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, which took place in Mombasa, did resolve that he stays on as the Secretary General, as well as maintain the position of the nominated Member of Parliament. Now, he says based on that resolution alone, it warrants him to stay in office, but the National Executive Council has said that they are not going to be taking that. They voted him out on Monday. Sossion insists that the National Executive Council's vote mean nothing if the annual delegates convention does not, of course, vote with the National Executive Council or does not agree with them that Sossion needs to leave office. So that stalemate has been ongoing ever since last year. If you remember very well, Zinzi Kibiku, the then Cabinet Secretary for Labour, Phyllis Kandie, had written to trade unionists in the country, urging any trade unionist leader who was still holding a position within their respective trade unions to relinquish their position, provided that they had been either elected, appointed, or had any government or parliamentary job. Sossion dismissed, of course, that letter in around late November last year, and of course he insists that he's going to be remaining in office. But of course, that standoff between the camp allied to Wilson Sossion and that one allied to the new Secretary General Hesbon Otieno continue to go at loggerheads with a union that carries nearly 200,000 people in membership, apparently split down the middle. And this split was so evident this particular week. Wilson Sossion was supposed to be spearheading talks with the Teachers Service Commission this week in regards to the promotion of teachers who had gotten better certificates and had improved their level of education. 30,000 teachers. That meeting did not take place earlier on this week. It was postponed, and on the day when Wilson Sossion presented himself to the Teachers Service Commission to spearhead those talks, he was apparently alone as the camp led by the acting Secretary General Wilson Sossion had requested the Teacher Service Commission to postpone that meeting to next week. So we're seeing a stalemate that is reaching fever pitch, even as 200,000 members continue to await in limbo, not really clear as to who their leader at this particular moment is, Zinzi.
Thank you. All right, that's very true. Timothy Otieno there for us at the KNUT headquarters, where a section of KNUT leaders, teachers rather, are currently meeting. And Timothy Otieno is continuing to be on the ground as we keep our eye on that. It could be quite interesting to see how the Labour courts will rule in regards to Wilson Sossion come May 10th when they vote in regards to hearing of his petition. All right, we're keeping our eye on that.